So it looks like we're living in a spy movie now. Israel decided to detonate a bunch of pagers of Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon. And part of the reason this happened is because one of the top Hezbollah commanders was killed by Israel, and they got super paranoid about their cell phones, and they were like, we're gonna switch to pagers. So Hezbollah decided to order a bunch of pagers from Taiwan. Bad idea, because they were then booby-trapped allegedly by the Israelis. So far, 11 people have been reported killed, including 2 children, and over 3,000 people have been injured. And for the alleged provocation of this was, Lebanon tried to place an explosive device on one of the top Israeli security forces. Another reason for this is because there's domestic pressure in Israel to actually return to the northern part of Israel, which has been evacuated due to rocket fire from Lebanon. And the defense minister Gallant said there's only a military solution to this. I guess Hezbollah now is going to be all paranoid about their communications devices. I would be too. So in theory, Israel and Lebanon haven't gone to all-out war yet. It doesn't seem like both sides are interested in de-escalating. The only evidence I've seen for de-escalation was when we had the first temporary ceasefire with Hamas at the beginning of this war, where Lebanon and the Houthis decided to stop rocketing Israel because they looked like, oh, we were actually going to get to some sort of peace negotiation. That fell through, and now we're trying to get the second ceasefire negotiation through. But it looks like Israel's going for the escalation dominance path. This is a very risky game to be playing, but maybe they're right in the end, because they detonated an explosive device in Tel Aviv and Iran didn't do anything. Also, let's make this clear. The United States government has no interest in going to war with Iran. The Iranian government has no interest in going to war against the United States. I wish Iran would stop arming its proxies to attack Israel. Then again, I would like the United States not to arm extremist groups to fight against our geopolitical enemies. We saw this with the Soviet Union during the Cold War, so the precedence is already there. I will say for Israel, is there really any way to have a more targeted attack against Hezbollah fighters? I mean, we could try diplomacy and try to have a ceasefire negotiation, but unfortunately that looks dead to me. And a war with Lebanon would be very dangerous for Israel because they do have a very healthy stockpile of missiles, which could in theory overwhelm the Iron Dome of Israel and actually cause real damage. And the other concern is a war with Iran, which is literally in a mountain fortress. Think of the Iraq War, but worse. And the US is claiming that it had no idea that Israel was going to do this. I don't know if that's true, because it wouldn't surprise me if Israel just doesn't listen to the United States, even though we give them billions of dollars. Or the United States government is lying about it, and they were aware of this. And the United States has been trying to tell Israel, please don't escalate with Lebanon. I guess we just found out that all of our electronic devices could actually be used as a weapon against us. So I'm not a fan of the insane levels of paranoia this is going to instill in civilian populations. Another scary precedent that this might set is the world is a battlefield. I mean, call it what it is. Israel violated Iran's sovereignty. Israel placed the device that killed a top Hamas official in Tel Aviv. And at the end of the day, my central premise from this is Joe Biden is like one of the weakest presidents ever. He says he wants a ceasefire negotiation, but he's unwilling to use US weapon sales in order to achieve this. So if this slowly escalates out of control and we end up in a war with Iran, it's Joe Biden's fault. And if that happens, Joe Biden is just as bad a president as George W. Bush. And I never thought I would say that, because I thought George Bush was the worst president in my lifetime. Looks like Joe Biden's trying to give him a run for his money.